Hello there, welcome back to the bench. Sorry it's been so long between videos. I've actually had quite a lot to do. There's been quite a lot going on in the drone world for me and out of the drone world for me. First of all, I want to catch up on some news. Now, since my last video, quite a lot of things have actually happened. First thing is there's been no new firmware updates for the Phantom 3 or the Inspire 1. A couple of weeks ago, since all of this happened with the Phantom 3, the problems with VPS and other issues, the app having lag, a lot of Android users said they were having lag, DJI have actually put out a statement. Quite rare this, and basically it's relating to the Phantom 3 1.26 and 1.28 firmware issues. And basically you can see it up here, and what they have basically said is they are always trying to work on their platforms and make them as good as possible and make them exceed the needs of their customers. A couple of issues they've come across is no visual live feed. They've said that's down to the SD card not being inserted properly. Increased lag or screen flicker. Now this can be due to a number of things. A big thing is the overhead on the tablet you're using. Something that's become very apparent is what they call CPU throttling on tablets. Most tablets are actually only designed to be used up to 95 degrees. There's a lot of information out there about how these tablets reduce their processor speed as their temperature increases. This has been known for quite some time in a lot of the benchmark review sites. But it's only now really beginning to affect us because these apps that the DJI products use are so intensive on the hardware that they are coming towards the throttling a lot earlier than they normally would have with a normal app. Now this is even worse in very hot areas. When people are using them in extreme outside temperatures, it's even worse. But they're just saying to disable some stuff, make sure it's working, make sure hardware decode is on if you're using an iPad. So yeah, they've put out a bit of information in there really. It's worth having a read through and just reading what they've said. It's very unusual for them to release a statement like this. What they've said is they know they haven't got it right and they are going to do better. An interesting tidbit from it was they are actually going to allow you to downgrade firmware. Downgrade may not actually be the correct word to use, but they're going to actually let you step back to the last known good firmware. So when they release a firmware update, they're going to give you the new update and the last firmware update. So if you put the new firmware update on and you're not happy with it, you will be able to go back to the last one, which should be a good stable update. Further to this, DJI have actually announced beta testing for both the Inspire 1 and the Phantom 3. Now they've done this before for the Inspire 1, this is the first time for the Phantom 3. They've made opportunity for users to register for the public beta program. Those who do register for it will be under an NDA, so that is a non-disclosure agreement. They will not be allowed to discuss it publicly, as with these things. The idea is you will install the beta firmware on your Phantom 3 and you go out and test it, and there are some rewards DJI give for doing this, credits on your DJI account, and you know, if you put in some flight time, there's up to $500 US available, so it's not a bad deal. Now this is basically probably closed now by the time I've posted this video, I'm afraid, but it's worth going to the website and registering if you haven't, if you are interested in doing it. One note with beta firmware is it is beta. It has been tested, so all of the big bugs, all of the show-stopping stuff should have been found. However, there is the possibility of something going wrong. Now DJI have said they will cover you for that if the circumstances are right, but you do need to be aware this is a beta software. So you do need to be aware that something could go wrong. So if you are using your product for business use or you just want to fly it, the beta is probably not for you. The beta is for those of us who like tinkering, building, messing about with them, who understand the risks. Further than that, they've actually pushed a few accessories out this week. And a couple of good ones. First of all, they've released the carbon fibre props. Now these are not straight carbon fibre. These are carbon fibre reinforced, so they are not fully carbon fibre. They are carbon fibre mixed with the composite material. It does mean they will be stronger than the plastic props. They should be less susceptible to shattering off if you catch something. The standard props have a habit of just snapping the blade instantly and bringing the bird out the sky, whereas the carbon fibre ones should be more resilient. Not that props are really going to be your biggest worry if you do catch something with your Phantom 3. The likelihood is if you do crash your Phantom 3, the last thing you're going to care about is the props. But the carbon fibre ones are available. I'm hoping to have a set here next week, so I'm going to give them a test and I'll put a review about them. They have been ordered from DJI. Secondly, the HDMI output board has been released and is available. Ships within 10 to 15 working days. Now this has come in cheaper than I expected. There were rumours roaming around it was going to be about $150. I think in the US it's $99 and in the UK it's 78 quid. What this will give you is the HDMI output port. It adds a CAN bus port. Now there's no information on what that's going to be used for. They're saying that's for future use. It also gives you the standard mini USB and standard USB port. The advantage to having the HDMI output is, for starters, you can use your first person view goggles. Head plays are now out, Headplay HDs. They look like they're going to be really cool to use with this. The cinemizers are now obsolete, but some people do still have them. The Fat Shark Dominator HDs are now obsolete, but it looks like they are replacing them with an upgraded version. So at the moment, you're a little bit limited what you can go for with goggles. But the advantage to the HDMI is you could also use a monitor. So if you are somewhere where it is very hot and you can't get your tablet to work properly, put a monitor on it and use it as a monitor on it. You can also have OSD overlay on the HDMI output as well. Finally, DJI have released their own ND4 filter based on the same design as their standard UV filter. Now this looks very nice. It's just a shame it's only ND4. To be honest, I need an ND8/16. I need an ND8 and an ND16, and at times I probably need an ND32. Hopefully they're going to release them. It is expensive. It's 21 quid for one filter. So if it's 21 quid, if they released another two, it would be 61 quid for the three. There are some very cheap alternatives out there at the moment. A company called Taco RC have just released a set which are really cheap, and the boys on the forums are raving about them. They are saying they're really good. I've got the Polar Pros. I really am not that happy with them. I've got the original set. The build quality isn't good. Shortly after releasing the original set, they released a second upgraded lighter version, which I was a bit miffed about, if I'm honest, because they, to release a replacement within weeks of releasing the original. In fact, it wasn't even weeks, it was like 1 week. So I'm not very impressed with Polar Pro on that one. I have not tried the SRPs. I would like to have a look at the SRP filters. The DJI and the Polar Pros and the Taco RCs replace your existing UV filter. So you unscrew the existing lens and put this new lens on instead. The SRP filters actually go over the top of your existing filter. So it means you don't actually have to remove your UV filter. Pros and cons on that is you'll have a little bit more weight with the SRP because you've still got the original UV lens on. But there's been no real reports of problems with any of the UV filter weights. Everybody seems to have been working fine. One bug that does seem to have appeared in the last couple of weeks as well is gimbal overload error. 99% of these seem to be a software issue since firmware 1.20 of the Pilot app. If you are getting gimbal overload error and there's nothing else wrong, the gimbal's not dropping and it's not going dead, I would ignore it and not worry about it. Moving forward, as I said, DJI have announced the beta. Hopefully what this will mean for all of us is once the beta has completed, we should have then a very, very stable firmware to work from. It will give DJI a very stable platform. So it's a very good thing, this public beta. It's a very, very good move indeed. So we don't know yet what extra features are in it. We won't know that until they announce it to the actual public and give it to everybody. But that's it. Thank you for watching. Sorry it's a bit of a boring one. There's nothing on the bench today. I got some stuff coming up next week. I got some really cool stuff coming up next week. So I'm hoping to get that up on the bench then. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channels. Please subscribe. Hello again. A quick final note I forgot to put on the video. On the 5th and 6th of December 2015 this year at the NEC in Birmingham, it will be the UK National Drone Show. Highly recommend, if you're in the UK and you've got the weekend off, go and have a look. There's going to be some really good stuff. Really good stuff there. Tickets are available now. I have heard that they're going up in August. So if you want to get your tickets, get them nice and early. It's going to be a Saturday and Sunday, first weekend of December. And yeah, it should be a really good show with a lot of good stuff there. I believe there's a lot of big companies, DJI, 3DR, Parrot, so there's a lot of stuff going to be there. So that's it, final bit of the update. Thank you very much, please subscribe, bye.